This video is brought to you by Skillshare. Hi and welcome to another very exciting tutorial. Today we're going to build this simple yet kind of very useful drawing app. We can toggle between drawing with your finger or Apple Pencil and then save images of our masterpieces to the photo library. But before we get started, I'd like to point you towards a live stream that I'm going to conduct next Monday on June 15th. It's all about your questions about privacy and the implications of using data in our day-to-day lives. If you're new to the topic, have a look at my last video. It outlines the tremendous importance of dealing with aspects of privacy as a developer. My guests in this live stream will be the head of Privacy Tech Lab, Sebastian Zimek, and his colleagues. I cannot stress the importance of this topic enough, so I hope to see many of you in this live stream event. But now let's start building the app. And to build our simple drawing app, I've already opened up Xcode, created a single view application, which is storyboard based this time, because using PencilKit is still a lot easier together with UIKit and with storyboards. So let's just quickly go ahead and have a look at our view controller scene here. We just have one view controller that we're going to embed into a navigation controller so that we can use a navigation bar on top of it. So I've selected my view controller, click the editor menu item, select embed in navigation controller, and there we have it, our very own navigation bar that we can use now to add some bar button items. So I'm pressing Command-Shift-L on my keyboard to get my object library, and I'm going to select bar but to get some bar button items, and we're going to have one bar button item on the left, which is going to be our photo button or our screenshot button. I'm going to select a system item here, which is the camera, to symbolize that we can take a picture of our drawing right here. And then we will have another bar button item here on the right to switch between pencil and finger, depending on what device we are on. Of course, on iPhone, we can only use our fingers, but on iPad, we could also use our pencil if we have one. So next step is to add a proper drawing view, which is going to be our canvas view. It is also part of the PencilKit. So we're going to hit Command-Shift-L again, looking for a simple UI view here to just drag and drop that to our view controller. And then I'm going to position that maybe in the top. Well, let's maybe use the size inspector here, set it to 0 and 0, and just increase the size all the way down to the bottom right. And then we will also set the auto resizing masks here and pin our view to all four sides, and also make it stretch if we resize our window. And with that done, we can actually connect all of these things to our code, to our view controller storyboard file. So I'm opening up my assistant editor here, hitting the editor options, go to assistant, and then we can just make this a little bit bigger here and press Control on our keyboard to actually drag from the pencil button, for example, to our view controller class right here. And I'm going to call this pencil finger button. And then I will also have, we actually do not need that as an outlet to talk with it, but later as an IB action. So I'm going to press Control, my keyboard, also on my camera button, selecting action right here, and we're going to call that maybe take or save drawing to camera roll, because this is what we're going to do with that. And the last outlet that we're going to need, and just before we do that, let's maybe quickly make one adjustment in the identity inspector here on the right. So I'm bringing up my right pane here again, and here I'm going to select as a custom class the PK canvas view, which will automatically rename our view to a canvas view, and then we can again click and drag to our code file, call this canvas view, and we are already done with that. So of course we have an undeclared type here because we have not imported the PencilKit yet. So let's quickly do that, import PencilKit, and maybe give us some more space here. And now we can already start working with our project. This video's sponsor is Skillshare. Skillshare is an online learning community with thousands of inspiring classes for creative and curious people like you. You can explore new skills, deepen existing passions, and get lost in creativity. They offer classes designed for real life and all the circumstances that come with it. They are short and to the point and can easily fit into a tight schedule. I'm following one class at the moment that I find extremely helpful when it comes to app design. It covers the benefits of using and create effective design systems to make design work easier, faster, and better. The first 1,000 of my subscribers to click the link in the video description below will get a 2-month free trial of premium membership so you can explore your creativity. Thank you Skillshare for sponsoring this video. And the first steps in setting all of this up is going to be to define some constants and also our one property actually to store our drawing. So let's maybe start with the canvas width. That we define as a standard width, which is going to be a CG float value, and I'm just going to take a standard iPad portrait width for that as a standard width, and then we will also have for our scroll view, we will have a canvas over scroll height. Which is also going to be a CG float. Let's set this to 500, just that we have a nice area that we can use to move around. And we will also need a place to save our drawing, which I'm going to do in a PK drawing object. And you could also use that object to store that in a specific data model if you want to store your drawing in a native format without actually taking a picture or a screenshot or converting it to a PDF so that you can keep the drawing in a modifiable state. This would be the way or to deal with that using the PK drawing class right here. And in addition to having a place to actually store our drawing, we also need to adopt 2 protocols, the PK canvas view delegate and also the PK tool picker observer, which is of course responsible for the tool picker that we can move around on our screen. And now in view.load, for me in line 24, we're going to do our basic setup. So we're going to set our canvas view and its delegate to self, since we've just adopted the PK canvas view delegate, so we can work with that later. And we will also set the canvas view and its drawing to the drawing object that we've just created as a property of our view controller class. And now there are also some fine-tuning things that we can do. So for example, we can use our canvas view again, always bounce vertically is a good behavior for what we are trying to achieve. And we can also set, since we are at the moment going to look at our app using an iPhone, we can set allows finger drawing to true as well. If you expect your users to originally come from an iPad or use your app on an iPad, you might want to disable that, but that's of course completely up to you. Besides from the canvas, we also have our picker or our tool picker that we have to attach to our view or to our window. What we can do here is check if we can get a window using the view controller's parent, its view, and then window. And then we can also create or check if we can get a tool picker and then just get the PK tool picker as a shared instance for our window that we possibly or hopefully should also have. And if this works, Then we can use our tool picker, set its visibility to true for the first responder canvas view that we have created using our storyboard. And this is now the first step. The second step is to add an observer to our tool picker. So we have tool picker add observer, and this is also going to be the canvas view, not the canvas width. And as last step, and the same as with, for example, a text field, if we'd like to use that right away, we have to use our canvas view and tell it to become the first responder. And with that, the basic setup is actually done. So we can already look at our results in the simulator, and if you have a look at that, we already get our nice tool picker, and we can even draw everything that we'd like. We can use all the tools, we can change the color, we can erase and select things, and we can also use our ruler. We can not yet toggle between pencil and finger. We can also not take a photo of our drawing or save our drawing to our photo library, but these are all a few problems that we can solve in a second. So let's just make a little drawing here and see another problem that we might have. So as you can see here, once we rotate our device, we can no longer see or work with our drawing the way we'd like to. So these are just a few problems that we are going to solve right now. So let's maybe deal with the low-hanging fruits first. There is something that we can do about performance issues. So there is on devices without a home button, we do have the home indicator, and this home indicator influences the efficiency and also latency of our canvas view and our tool picker. So we can override the prefers home indicator auto hidden Boolean property here and just return true so that we can automatically hide that. So this was very simple. As for what should happen when we resize our view or when we adjust the rotation, we also need to adjust the canvas scale so that it is zoomed to the default canvas width, which we have defined as 768 pixels. So what we can do is override view did layout subviews, called super, of course, view did layout subviews. And since our canvas view is kind of like a scroll view, we can use many of the approaches that we would also use with a scroll view. So let's create a canvas scale, and to get that, we just use the canvas view, its bounds and its width, and divided by the canvas width that we have defined. And with that, every time we do adjust our canvas, or if we rotate our device or whatever, we can reset the canvas view. And we start with the canvas view and its minimum scale, set this to the canvas scale, the minimum zoom scale, do the same thing for the maximum zoom scale, and also for the zoom scale. Canvas view, its zoom scale, and also set this to canvas scale. And what we also need to do is scroll to the top. So we can do that with the canvas view and the content offset. We set this to a CG point for X and Y. X is 0, and Y we just use the negative canvas view and its adjusted content inset and its top edge inset value. But here, right before we do that, we also need to update the content size for our drawing, and therefore we're going to create a little helper function, maybe right below our draw, save drawing to camera roll function. And with this helper function, we want to set a suitable content size for the canvas view. So we create this function, call it update content size for drawing. And here we need to update the content size to match the drawing. So we create, or we get our drawing and store it to a constant using the canvas view. and the drawing property, and this, as you can see, is the data object that the canvas uses to store drawn data. And what we can also do is create a content height CG float constant right here, because this is what we are going to adjust depending on the bounds of our drawing. So we adjust the content size to always be bigger than the drawing height. So we need to check if our drawing and its bounds is null, which returns whether the rectangle is equal to the null rectangle. So if this is not the case, then we define our content height as either the canvas view and its bounds and its height, but what we'd like to do is we want to get the maximum value. So either this would be the canvas view and its bounds and its height, or, and here we have to add some parentheses, the drawing and its bounds and its maximum y value plus our canvas overscrolling height. So self canvas overscroll height, and this, of course, we need to multiply that with our zoom scale to get the proper value. So times canvas view and its zoom scale, depending on which value is bigger, we choose our content height, and if the drawing bounds or the bounds of our drawing does return the null rectangle, then what we're going to do is just use the content height from our canvas view, its bounds, canvas view, its bounds, and its height. And last but not least, what we need to do is set the content size of our canvas view. So canvas view, set the content size to a CG size value for width and height. So width is the canvas view times canvas view and the zoom scale, and the height is the content height that we got from our if statement right here. And here, of course, we don't use the canvas view, but the canvas width. And with that done, we can still perform one last task, maybe right below here. And as you can see, we do not have the function for toggling our pencil or switching between pencil and finger controls. So here I'm just going to add an IB action. Let's maybe call this toggle finger or pencil. This is going to get a sender, type any. And then if we go into our storyboard and with the assistant editor open, we can just create a connection between our IB action encode and our button or our bar button item. And what we're going to do here is very simple. Use the canvas view, call the allows finger drawing, and just toggle that. And depending on that state, we will also change the pencil finger button and its title and set it to canvas view allows finger drawing. If that should be the case, then we will display finger. In any other case, we will display pencil. And if we run this in a simulator, then we see that we cannot really draw. And I think this is because we haven't called our update content size for drawing function yet in view layout subviews, which we should do. And also what we need to keep in mind is that we also can now update our content size for drawing every time we draw something. Therefore, we can thankfully use a delegate function from our canvas view delegate, which is canvas view drawing did change. And everything we want to do here is just update the content size for our drawing. And if we run this now and maybe draw something right here, then we should also be able to rotate that. And if we change from pencil to finger or go to pencil right here, you can see that we can scroll through our drawing, and if we rotate that back, we should be able to get our drawing where we left off. And with that, we can definitely work. So let's maybe change to, and as you can see, I can now scroll through here, change back to finger, draw a little bit here for the rooftop, and rotate this again. as you can see, change back to pencil, and we can just move nicely around our drawing, and we're always scrolled to the top just as we have defined it in our code. So very nice already. So we have full functionality for drawing, and we can adjust the size of our view and so on. Now what's missing is that we can also store our image somewhere, and this would be the camera roll in our case, where we'd like to store that. And this is not a very uncommon task, so let's just quickly go through that. For saving an image to the camera roll, there are different approaches. What we're going to do is we're going to use a graphics context. So we start by creating a UI graphics context by calling UI graphics begin image context, with some options, because we want to define size if it's opaque, and also the scale. So the size is going to be the canvas view, its bounds and its size. We don't want it to be opaque. For the scale, we're going to use UI screen main and its scale factor. Then we need to create our image by using the canvas view and draw the hierarchy in a specified rectangle, which is going to be the canvas view and its bounds. And also we want to make sure that it does that after the screen updates. And now, after we have drawn our hierarchy, we can get the image as a UI image by using UI graphics get image from current context. Normally we would put that, for example, into an if-let statement, but since we're working with the image context, we also have to use UI graphics and end the image context after we have created our image or got our image from this image context. And then what we will do is just use an if statement, check if our image is not equal to nil, and then we can, for example, use the Photos UI library to store our image. Maybe we have to import that to our view controller class now. So I'm scrolling right back to the top, import the Photos UI, and then we can scroll down again. And if we do have our image, use ph photo library shared, we perform some changes. So we use perform changes with a change block. And what we do here in this block is use a ph asset change request and use creation request for asset from a UI image. And here we have our image that is definitely not nil, so we can unwrap that. And for the completion handler, we could define a success and error property here that we could then work with in our completion handler and then deal with success or error. We're going to make our lives a little bit simpler here. We're going to try that out right now and make sure that we get our error message because we have not yet defined the usage description key or the usage description that we need to supply our application with to tell our users why we need access to the photo library. But I like to actually just run the app, and then you get the proper description key for our plist in the console. So I'm just going to copy NS photo library usage description right here, and then we can go into the info plist, add this row right here as a key. And as for the value, we're going to go with, for example, to store a drawing as an image in your photo library. Then we can run this again in the simulator and maybe draw a little sun here in the top left corner. Also maybe create some hills, maybe a little bit browner. Here are my hills, and then maybe add some grass as well. So here we have our great image, and we can now save that to the photo library. We get our usage description, and going to take one again, and then we can have a look at the photo library, and there we have our nice little drawing stored for, well, eternity. And with that done, we have created a very cool drawing application that can be pretty useful, actually, if you just want to draw something and store an image. No need to create a node, nothing else. So I hope that you will find this useful, that you maybe want to integrate that into your existing application. There are many use cases, I think, for a nice way to create some drawings. I thank you so much for watching. Be sure to give this video a thumbs up if you liked it, subscribe to not miss any future tutorials, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!